Welcome, everybody. My name is Zach Posner. I'm a co-founder and a managing partner at the LegalTech Fund. And today I'm excited to be joined by Michael Pierson, the co-chairman of Pierson Ferdinand, a full-service law firm with over 200 partners across 80 different practice areas, serving clients globally across 20 different markets. What's amazing about the story and that one line I just said is this firm is less than a year and a half old. And I'm excited to talk to Michael about this and kind of how the firm came to be and what they're doing right. And they really look like the firm of the future. So we're really excited to chat further. You know, they're thinking a lot about a focus on diversity, on technology, and client first service. Michael's background is spectacular, and I'm excited for him to share a little bit about that. It spans regulatory, securities, and transactional law. He's held senior roles at the SEC, at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Lewis, and even co-founded a tech company along the way. Few people that we've come across have such a wide range impact across law, finance, and innovation. Michael, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes.
Thanks so much, and thanks for the kind introduction.
Awesome. So I'm not sure where we start, but you've done a lot of fascinating things from the SEC to Goldman, but you know, from working in traditional practices to being entrepreneurial, launching your own firm. What you know, what was missing in the traditional law firm model where you and Joel came together and said, we got to do this?
Yeah, good question. So I'm a classically trained securities lawyer, right? I began my career at the SEC in Washington, D.C. at the Division of Market Reg, which is now Trading and Markets. Had a great time there, moved over to Morgan Lewis, joined their investment management group in Washington, D.C. Again, stellar group of lawyers that I was so lucky to train under, including now one of my partners here at the firm, Jack Drogan, who was a counsel at Morgan Lewis when I was his associate. So after Morgan Lewis, I moved to New York to become one of the general counsels of sales and trading at Goldman Sachs, and was there for a period of time. Moved to the buy side, was one of the interim counsels for Silver Lake, working directly with Karen King and a few others there at the firm. I've done a lot of really interesting things, and I'm so lucky to have had the opportunity to be in a regulatory function, to be in a private practice, a large global law firm, and also to be in-house not only on the buy side, but also on the sell side. Joel Ferdinand and I met each other at another AmLaw 200 law firm. I ran the corporate department. Joel ran the litigation department. One day we looked at each other and we said, what if we had the opportunity to create the law firm of the future? If we wanted to create an elite modern law firm, what would it look like and what would we do? Long story short, we were so fortunate in January of 2024 to open Pierson Ferdinand with 120 of our colleagues. Since that time, we've now hired over 95 lateral partners, and we're now sitting at just over 215 partners globally in the US and in the UK. Full service law firm, 80 plus practice areas, IP, litigation, corporate, securities, M&A, private equity, private investment funds, you name it, labor and employment. The key to the firm is we are partner only. We do not have associates, and we are tech driven. And that's really the key to building what we think is the law firm of the future. Asset light, we are totally remote. We've embraced remote working. We don't have physical offices. If we do need to go and see our clients, we go and see them where they are. The entire firm is built around very bespoke software that's been built directly for us. We call it our tech stack, that really enables us to automate a lot of the admin tasks that most equity partners would have to deal with inside a major law firm. When you're delivering legal services to clients, the value prop has got to be excellence, but it's also got to be value, right? You've got to be able to do more at a cheaper price. And that really is what is resonating with our clients. In terms of the partnership itself, we practice what's called radical inclusion here at the firm, which is a huge undertaking and really has paid dividends. It means it doesn't matter your socioeconomic background, your political beliefs, your race, your religion, your sexual orientation. We just want to work with the best human beings as possible that just happen to be the most excellent lawyers that we can hire.
That's awesome. And two big themes, because I've heard you guys talk about technology, and I've heard you talk a lot about people. But you mentioned that concept of like do more at a cheaper price, and we've had this. One of our advisors came up with a phrase. He said, "Look, the business of law deviates from the laws of business, where it's just like, as your revenue and your profits increase, you would think you would double down and invest in innovation and do a lot of these things. But a lot of people don't think like that. So it's interesting that like a basic tenet for y'all was just saying, let's do more at a cheaper price for our clients."
That's right. So we hired Christina Wojcik, who's now our new
Sure.
head of innovation and partnerships, whom you know. She's great. In addition to the fact that she and I went to law school together, she's had this really fabulous career building out programs for large institutional clients, right? Diligencing technology, really looking at best-in-class technology, but from the client side, right? Which is why it's so interesting for us. We have someone here at the law firm, right, who used to run this for Citibank. So
Yeah.
if we can figure out what a client like Citibank wants and build our entire law firm around satisfying very large institutional client needs, we're going to be way ahead of everyone else. And on the tech front, that's really where this is going, right? If we're opposite another law firm in a transaction, and the way for them to get work done, the way for them to actually monetize the work product is just to throw more bodies at it, right? Clients don't like that. Partners like it because it inflates the revenues of the firm, and it also trains the associates. We believe that that's not necessarily in the client's best interests. So we can leverage each other here at the firm the way that someone else might leverage a senior associate or even a mid-level associate in another law firm. So all of the work is done at a partner-only level, and we're using technology to replace a lot of the tasks that were ordinarily going to associates. So we are heavy users of AI. We're heavy
Maybe
users.
unpack that a little bit. Like
Yeah,
like you talk about the tech stack. What does it look like from both the business of law and the practice of law?
yeah. We very much bifurcate the business of law from the practice of law, right? Joel and I are basically running the law firm on the day-to-day. Most of the client work is not being done by us. We are relentlessly focused on building a great business here. So that means taking the long view when it comes to making investments in technology. We have a great partnership with Harvey AI, where every lawyer at the firm has access to it. They know how to use it. It's GDPR compliant. It's SOC 2, ISO certified. Our clients are comfortable with it. We have policies and procedures with how to use it, and it works fabulously. In an M&A context, we can have Harvey generate an issues memo that might take associates a few days to draft in a traditional law firm context. So we are really leaning heavily into technology, but using very experienced lawyers to review that in furtherance of the work product that actually goes out to the client. And in most cases, the person who's here at the firm has been a partner in an AmLaw 100 firm previously, and they're the ones running the deal. So the client value is you get a very experienced former big law partner who's using technology to drive efficiencies to ultimately improve the work product at a much lower rate than our competitors.
Where are you? I think you said about 215 partners. Literally we're sitting here in mid-May, so you're talking about a year and 5 months.
Yeah.
Where are you compared to how you and Joel thought about this when you got, if I would have talked to you in Q4 of 2023?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question. We thought if we could just get a reasonable amount of people to come over with us, right? If we could get 45 critical mass, great people, great culture, all her rowing in the same direction, where we could offer a full service offering to our clients, that would have been success to us. We had never in our wildest dreams did we think that we would 4 or 5x that, right?
Yeah.
That really was, at the end of the day, a team effort, right? There are 130 founding partners here at the firm, and that's what we call them. These are people who made the jump with us. These are people who we consider our family, and we say that here at the firm, this is the Pierford family, and we really do mean that. These are people who we practice with day in and day out, and who really have taken a leap of faith with us to really create the modern elite law firm of the future. And everyone really does believe that, right? Everyone's bought into the vision, and they're living it out every day. And so, yes, we had high expectations, but the people who came along with it really blew it out of the water.
And maybe paint a little bit of a vision, like where do you think this goes, or what, like 5 years out, 10 years out, like what does the firm of the future look like? Is it just more of what you're doing now? Does it take different shapes or sizes, or does it what does that
Yeah,
look like?
great question. So when you're talking about the business of law versus the practice of law, we really do think that is the future, right? Building proprietary technology on the business side of the firm that can be used not only by our partners and by our clients, but also by other law firms, right? And we've started to see this. Other law firms have built things for a use case for a client that was needed that can actually be commercialized. And so focusing on building out technology will be, I think, in the cards for the firm in the future. But making significant investments in a lot of the legal tech products that are already out there, right? We've worked with a lot of them right now. In fact, one of the back end software providers for the firm, Clio, it's a very highly bespoke version of that software, right? We've got our own web developers who've built out automated bill flow technologies for us. We've built our own proprietary conflict system, which can clear conflicts in a matter of a few seconds that pull from 187 different databases. Our bills are sent automatically every month with the press of a button. That is something that was really important to us, right? To be tech enabled really meant to partner with a lot of the people who can do this better than we can, but who are willing through open APIs and the like to allow us to customize the software that really makes it robust and useful for us. So the law firm of the future is going to be, we think, associate light and tech heavy.
Here's a big question that we've been trying to think about, because we agree with you, and maybe not as light as you guys are thinking about, but right now it feels like that pyramid has been built to, like, lots of law firms, that's how they make their money. That's how they generate their income at the end of the day, with that leverage model. It seems like you guys are saying, no, we're doing something completely different, or maybe the leverage is on technology.
Yeah.
But how do you think of the future of training? Like, I don't know if you've unpacked this, but like, I'm sure like through some of your experiences, like that's how you learned and got to a lot of the places you've been through. But how do you think about that?
It's a great question. So we've implemented a program here for junior partners. So these are people who are 5 years out of law school, who have a little training from a law firm, who can join us and learn from more senior people. There's a full training program. They've got work that's actually given to them by much more senior partners, but they can shadow these people. They can understand what it is to staff a matter, what it is to service a client. What do you do about disputes when the invoice is a little bit too high? Are you hitting budgets? Really learning how to manage the client relationship. And so that's already in place. We're building the Pierson Ferdinand partner of the future through that program, which is essential. The other thing to realize is that people are eligible for partner here in their 8th year of practice. We also have people here who have been practicing for 38 years. So when we go and staff matters, the person who's 38 years out is probably going to be the lead on something. And some of us who are a little bit more junior are going to be taking direction from that person. The key to this is the culture, very collegial, very collaborative, with no ego. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that we have a purely formulaic compensation model, which is an algorithm, again, proprietary to us, that sits on the tech stack, which feeds our finance and accounting function. And given that We have origination credit. We have producer credit. Anyone can be an originator, right? So even though my name's on the door, I might actually be the working attorney for another partner who said, there's a client who came in, there's a securities law regulation question, would you work on it? And it really is the economic contract of the partnership to make sure that everyone is available to do work for others and that everyone has work to give to others.
What's interesting about that to me and just research and prior conversations with you is, and you're fully transparent with all of that.
That's
There's
right.
no, everybody can see everything that affects everybody else.
That's right. So you can log in. There's a web portal for the algorithm. You can see the last time the client paid the invoice, how the expenses were deducted, what the originator credit was, what the working attorneys are going to get on the matter. And you can see that for anyone in the firm, including for Joel, including for me. We think that the transparency is key to it. And as long as everyone understands that there's a formula and that it's being applied, no one should have a problem with exposing all the financials to the rest of the partnership.
That's yeah, amazing. And I'm just curious about the structures of being in so many markets so quickly. Like, has that been a challenge, and is that something like, you're in these markets because the clients are based there, or are you in these to be able to serve your existing clients? Like, how do you think of the markets and such?
Yeah, great questions. I mean, we are in the vast majority of the major legal markets. New York for us is the largest concentration of partners in the firm. Philadelphia, Princeton is probably number 2. Atlanta's number 3. London's actually a quite large office for us with 16 or so fee earners there. So we're already in some of the largest legal markets in the world. The advantage that we have is we practiced with a lot of these partners for years and in some cases decades. So these relationships are very long-standing, and therefore it's easier to integrate new lateral partners to the firm. There's a great onboarding regime that we have here at the firm. There are weekly Zoom meetings, sort of like this, where the partners in the different practice areas get together and they talk about legal and regulatory updates.
Yeah.
We have a monthly partnership meeting. There's a lot of opportunity for people to, no matter where they physically sit, to be associated with an office and to really feel as though they are sitting physically with those partners on a day-to-day basis.
So this is going to get posted shortly. If there's an ask for an audience from your end, what would that be?
And ask, if you are a big law partner and you are interested whatsoever in a different way of practicing, and you've got AmLaw 100, 200 background, you're a good cultural fit, you're a good human being who's an excellent lawyer, we'd love to speak with you.
I think that's awesome, and telling about how you think about the world, where you're not the client side you're doing fine with, but it's like, we need more we need more talent to build this business because we have that many opportunities. Michael, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Thank you for being a friend of the fund and a supporter of all the technology ecosystem out there. And congrats on all the success, and wishing you much more.
Thank you. We're huge supporters of the LegalTech Fund. So thanks so much for having us, and really look forward to continuing the relationship with you.